I grew up in a loving and supportive family. I remember my father as we're approaching Father's Day and how supportive he was of me when I was young. And remember that he gave me some jobs. Now, you have to understand what's typical of most kids, and is true of me, is that my parents, my dad, provided me with a loving atmosphere, an environment around my family that was supportive of me. I had a roof over my head. I had meals to eat. When I would turn 16, he let me drive the family car. There were so many blessings that I enjoyed in my life that I didn't really deserve. I just received them because I was his son. As I got into high school, my dad gave me some of my first job opportunities. So I remember my dad hiring me to go work at his office. He owned an office building, and at that office building there was landscaping to do. There was lawn care, there was edging, there was weeding, and my dad hired me to do the lawn care at his office. That was not his job. That was my job and my responsibility. He was not going to do that for me. So he gave me this job, and then eventually, actually, I worked for him at his business at that office as well. Again, he gave that to me because I was his son. I don't think I was more qualified than some others to take on that job, but because I'm his son, he gave me that job, but it wasn't his responsibility. He hired me to do it. In our Christian lives, sometimes we get a little confused as to what is God's work in our lives and what God has called us to do. What's our work? God's work in our lives is providing, and it's blessing, and he gives us grace and forgiveness and all these spiritual gifts that we don't deserve, but he gives them to us because he loves us. But there are some things that God calls us to do in our life. He calls me to be more patient. He calls me to pray. He calls me to love my neighbor. He calls me to reconcile with someone when our relationship needs to be restored. Jesus talked about that in the Sermon on the Mount, about going to restore a relationship. I don't just pray, God, take care of this relationship, but I go find that person and I reconcile with them. Here at our church, Holy Word, Pflugerville, you're looking at our church property behind me that's supposed to have a building on it, and that doesn't have a building yet because just delays have happened. And some of us are wondering, God, where are you? Why aren't you making this building happen? And I think God's wondering the same thing about us. He's waiting for us to do some work, some preparation for that building in some way. What is God waiting for you to do? Is it to be more patient? Is it to pray more? Is it to use your money more wisely? At Holy Word Pflugerville, beginning this coming Sunday, we're going to begin a series called The 10 Commandments, Set Free to Live Free. We're going to look at what God has made us responsible to do, what God has called us to do. And that's our job, not his job. But here's the blessing. God goes with us every step of the way. As we at Holy Word Pflugerville try to put up a building, God is there blessing it in every way, even as it's our work. And as you seek to obey the 10 Commandments and do God's will in your life, that's your job, not God's. But he is with you as you do it. Listen to more of these videos as they come out, to the sermons through the series, and God bless the work that he has given you to do.